Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. We're in a celebratory mood here at DRF because last week we exceeded 20,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel. I want to thank our producers, Chloe and Lucia, for their excellent work, all the great handicappers and analysts that contribute to the DRF YouTube channel. And of course, I want to thank all of you who allow us into your homes and on your phones to watch the DRF analysis and let us talk racing with you. And if you haven't subscribed just yet, please do so, because join the party. We've got cupcakes, 20K, DRF. Mike, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is. I got a cupcake too, in case you were wondering. I got one. Yeah, I want to thank everybody for subscribing, Dan. I gotta feel like most people probably join in because of you, Dan. You're a true professional. I'm happy to be working with you, and I'm happy people tune in.
Mike, you're very honest, and that's why you're a great handicapper, because you can spot talent. That's why he's the best analyst in the business. Thank you very much. 20,000 subscribers. Here's to 20K more. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 10 at Keeneland on Saturday is a super race. It's the Grade 1 Jenny Wiley, mile and a 16th on the turf. Let's take a look at this field, because you're going to notice some of the top middle distance turf distaffers in the country. They're led by the number 2 in Italian, a multiple Grade 1 stakes winner who ran super when second in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf.
Yeah, I thought she ran great at the Breeders' Cup. They tried to go a little longer with her there, Dan, but that was a really solid performance. Her last 3 starts as a 4-year-old last year, they were all really strong performances. She's going to be on the lead here. They're going to have her to catch. This is a good field, Dan, but she's way the horse to beat.
She's the horse to beat. She's the horse to catch. We throw up the Timeform US pace projector. They can't run within Italian early. That's her game. Freedom Speaks is stretching out in distance. Maybe she'll show a little bit of speed, but she's not in Italian fast. And Queen Goddess and the rest in behind are more tactical. In Italian is going to get to the front in here, barring a disastrous break, and this distance might be more to her liking than the mile and 3/16 of the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, there's plenty pointing you in her direction in this race, even with the layoff in play here, Dan. She's 7-5 on the morning line. Her form from last year sort of speaks for itself. She's going to be on the lead here. They're going to have to catch her if they want to beat her. She is off the layoff, though, so maybe that opens the race up a little bit.
How deep is this field? Well, you've got a past Breeders' Cup winner at 20-1 on the morning line. That's the one Pizza Bianca who won the Juvenile Fillies Turf back in 2021. She went through the auction ring in November last year. You and I could not raise enough capital because she was bought back for $3.45 million. Last time out, she was 6th in the American Oaks. But on her best day, she will kick in the stretch. And at a price, maybe she can liven up some exotics.
She just needs, she needs a trip in this race, and she needs in Italian to go fast on the early lead in here, Dan, and just sort of set it up for her late run because she doesn't have any real tactical speed. Her last 3 starts, when they came back from Ascot last year, I actually feel like she ran pretty well in all of them. She didn't win any of them, but those races didn't set up great for her.
In Italian, speed popped him in the prestigious Diana at Saratoga. She speed popped him in Keeneland's First Lady, and she almost speed popped him in the Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Turf. She went to the front under Joe Rosario. She went fast. She came off the rail turning into the stretch, and it's going to take a very good European to kick her down.
Yeah, this isn't one of the major races that she won last year, Dan, but for my money, this might be the best race that she ran all year long. She did not slow it down on the lead in this race. She was moving right along. She stayed really gamely through the stretch. The distance might have got her. A really good horse certainly came and got her. That was a good performance. She's obviously really tough in this race. You and I talked about her a little bit last year as the season went on and she started winning major races. I could argue that I thought she was a little bit dressed up in both the Diana and the First Lady, because to me, those trips were just super soft. If you look up the Diana and Timeform, you're going to see color-coded red fractions like it was some kind of super fast pace. That's not how I looked at the race. I thought she had all the best of it that day and took advantage, but that doesn't mean she's not a good horse. I still think she's way the horse to beat in the end.
And she might have things all her own way and take advantage again on Saturday. Queen Goddess is a very consistent horse based in Southern California. She shows up every time, and in her last race, she popped a figure. a 100 in the Pegasus World Cup Filly and Mare Turf. She showcased her good tactical speed, working at a nice three-wide stalking trip. She bid for the lead, turning into the stretch. It takes her a while to make her final lead change in the stretch, but once she does so, she goes about her business and she wins very comfortably. This is the biggest class test of her career, but she's a very likable filly.
Yeah, I like the way that she's headed, and I like the fact, Dan, that they sort of, started shortening her up in distance, and I feel like it actually really helped her. Her last two races are both really good, going a little bit shorter in distance. I really liked her win last time. I don't know how she could win this race with that trip that she pulled that day, where she just sort of kept up close 3 wide. I don't think it's going to work in here, but I do think there's a chance she continues to improve this year.
Now, before you think an Italian is some sort of cinch, her uncoupled stablemate, the number 4 Speak of the Devil, whipped an Italian in Speak of the Devil's North American debut. That was the Distaff Turf Mile at Churchill Downs last year, where she made this in-out sweeping move on the turn, took things over, and was on her way. And since then, things haven't exactly worked out. She didn't run very well as the favorite in the Just the Game. She went on a very long layoff. She didn't run very well off the layoff in the Honey Fox. Maybe she'll do better second off the bench.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I guess the most interesting thing is that Chad is going to press on with her here and run her in a Grade 1 race. You're correct about her stateside debut. That was a really impressive win for her. The problem is she's run twice since then. She was bad both times.
Charlie Appleby has just been sending over Godolphin horses for the last few years, and it seems like they always make hay. With the Moonlight was no exception last year. She ran 3 times in New York. She won the Saratoga Oaks. She placed in a couple of other graded races. Here's her most recent start. She's 2 for 2 in Dubai in 2023. This was not a strong field in the Balanchine last time out, going 1 1/8 miles. She worked out a great trip, prompting the pace setter. There's no running going on behind her, and she grinds it out. I wonder if 1 1/16 miles is a little bit sharp for her, but she's got class, and she does seem to have some tactical ability, although I expect her to be coming from farther off the pace here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what she does in here, Dan. That win that we just watched and the one prior to that, I don't think they were like the most impressive wins in the world. But I just like that she has those 2 races so far this year. And what I really like about those 2 performances is she was really handy in both of those races. If you remember her when she was over here last year, really rank and sort of headstrong. She didn't really want to rate early in her races. That's not a problem anymore. I feel like she's going to fall into a trip in this race, and I think she has an awful lot of talent.
The number 6 is Skims. Big connections, big price. Shug McGahee, John Velasquez. She earned her graded stakes victory 2 back in the Sands Point, but we talked about that race. It didn't have a lot of pace. She was up close. It was her day. She got the right trip. She was 5th in the American Oaks last time, and she did finish ahead of a next out stakes winner. The 8th place finisher won the Astro with an 89 buyer. I still think she has lots to prove against this caliber of competition.
Yeah, I do too. Her overall form is fine, and she's certainly a horse who could continue to develop for Shug here. But her major win in the Sands Point is just a race where trip made all the difference, and she got a great one.
Here's a very lightly raced 5-year-old mare. That's the number 7, Henrietta Topham, coming off a runner-up effort at Keeneland in her final start last year. Let's watch that race. That's the Fall Harvest Stakes. She finished ahead of 2 next out winners, and we see she's down towards the inside in this race. She still has some work to do, and she's going to battle along to get beat only 3/4 of a length. Shantasara, the 5th place finisher, came back to run second behind Queen Goddess in the Pegasus with a 98, then won the graded Hillsborough with a 93.
Yeah, she did her best in this race coming up the inside. She's just really, there was just no point where it really looked like she was going to win. And another filly or mare now who feels like she's getting better every time they send her out there. It also just kind of feels like they're taking a shot in here at a major Grade 1 race. She's going to be a huge prize.
I think the 8 Freedom Speaks has the potential to be a very good turf sprinter this year if she stays sound. She is 2 for 2 on turf. Both of those races going short, a first level allowance where she was a 3-year-old beating some older horses at Saratoga. Then this race, the Music City, going 6.5 at Kentucky Downs, a race in which she sort of tracked in the second flight in between horses, gets to split, gets to the outside, and is very game to get up and win over a couple of next out winners. Now, this distance, this caliber of competition, and the trip she might pull chasing an Italian, it all might work against her, but she's one I'm keeping an eye on down the road.
Yeah, I agree. I think she does have a good amount of ability. I liked both of her turf races last year. Obviously, they were different kinds of races, but I thought she looked good winning both times. And this is not an easy spot for her. I guess they'll just sort of settle somewhere mid-pack and see how strongly she can kick in this race. I think she's pretty good. I don't like her that much in here.
White Frost is the number 9. The great Bill Mott's just done a wonderful job with this horse. She had so much potential, remember, back in 2021 when she won the Sweetest Chant and she just missed in the Winter Memories, and then she went away for over a year, and she's come back firing with a win and then a near miss in this race. Grade 3 Honey Fox last time out at Gulfstream, where she rallies from out of it and is just going to miss by a neck. I still think there's a little bit of upside. Frankie Dettori picks up the mount for Mott. Does she have to run a career best? Absolutely. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
I don't think it is either. It'll be interesting to see how much Mott can get her to take a step forward here, Dan, because she had all the potential in the world early on. And obviously the big layoff there really worked against her. I don't know how you feel about it. To me, she was way the best in the Honey Fox last time. He got super unlucky not to win that race. They're going to go a little faster in front of her here, but she doesn't need to be that far away either. I think she has the potential to be really dangerous in this race, and she's a great price on the morning line, and that's what I like most about her in here, but I recognize it's not going to be easy for her to win this race.
Let's see our top picks for the grade 1 Jenny Wiley. You're going with White Frost. You're getting the price. You're getting a horse that's always shown class, that might be really racing herself back into best form in the third start off the long layoff. She's going to be running late. We both think an Italian's the horse to beat. She's going to be short. You're going to go with White Frost. You take 8-1, or do you need more?
No, I would take 8-1. I think that's a fair price on her here. Then it's all about whether she's going to get a trip here and then, take that step forward that she needs to take. I think she can do it. And I think that's a very fair price on her in here. But again, it's not going to be easy. I think an Italian's tough. I like your horse as well. I just didn't pick her.
I agree with what you said about With the Moonlight. Her 2 wins were more workmanlike visually than anything else in Dubai, but I like the way she settled more in her races, and that could really serve her well in this spot. I think she's going to be running late along with your horse, White Frost. 9-2-5-3 for Mike, 5-2-8-3 for me, but in Italian is the horse to beat in the Jenny Wiley.